Good evening and welcome from a very snotty planet down in sunny Cornwall. As you can see, not looking my best. Me and Sue both got COVID, so please do not breathe anywhere near us. So this is for medicinal purposes only, and Sue's on the stuff as well. Never ever been on my whiskey. Anyway, good evening, Karen. First in the house, Graham Allison. Good evening, Adam Hudson. Good evening, Denver Skinner. Good evening. I have a mask on me, Chris. Yeah, you'll need them because you're speaking to two people. Well, you're looking at one person with COVID and one's in the back, and you'll hear it hacking like a freaking sledge dog. And here she goes, sledge dog in the background, hacking like a sledge dog. It's been wonderful. See, this is what you're gonna have to put up with this evening. She's now having a freaking choking fit. So please, everyone, please do not make Sue laugh. It's been really fun. She said, I've got a cold, me. And 5 days later, I said, I think we best test for COVID. And it turns out I had COVID, and she's gone into work. So she's probably killed 4,000 old blokes outside the bookies. Poor buggers. They're all probably in bed, tucked up, coughing their arses off, thinking they've got a bad cold, when in fact they've got COVID. So guess what? Instead of going to the caravan, like you think she would, she decides to come home and not go to work. So now I've got to sit for another week's COVID. Great fun, eh? She's lucky I got patience. She's lucky I got patience. Anyway, on that note, the place is filling up a little bit. We've got 22 people in the house. Like I said, don't breathe on me. Lubricated with whiskey, says Graham Allison. All because of one of our members felt so sorry for me. He stuck this in the post and said, there you go, Chris. Let's have a guess. Who would send Chris a bottle of that to say get well soon? Who? A bit of Jamaican rum in there as well. Can I do that? Can I actually? I'm not pretending I'm Jamaican. Lubricated whiskey, yeah. Gary, yeah, good old Gaza. Good old Gary, thank you, Gary. Just what the doctor ordered. So how you all been? Gary is a creep, said Adam Hudson. There you go. Let's start off, shall we? Because everyone's going, why is he talking about himself again? No, I'm just informing you that at the moment we're not taking in any clients. I had Jeff phone me up for a lesson. I've had to turn him away. I could have took the money off him and said it was a cough, but nope. You have to be honest with him. Do you know what the government guidelines are? After 5 days, some people, you can't pass on the COVID. You've got it, but you can't pass it on. And other people can. What freaking brain box worked that out on a government piece of paper in front of you giving you guidelines about the COVID? That some people after 5 days will continue passing it on and be carriers, and other people won't. How does the average layperson decide which category they belong to? Oh God, she's talking there. Look, do not adjust your screens. She's in the background. She won't say much because she's sounding like a mouse, but she is coughing. You'll hear her in the background. She's coughing. It's been really good fun. Really good fun, honestly. Hey up, family, says Julian Lees. So anyway, what I'd like to talk about tonight, to start with, there's a number of things I'd like to talk about. One of them is this shooting in the coroner's office. They're doing an inquest, aren't they, with Devon and Cornwall Police. And we've got the deputy commissioner coming on, telling us what we should be doing, and our firearms licenses should be set at least double the price to cover the cost of having a gun license, our firearms licenses. And they're suggesting that only people in rural areas should have guns. People in the city shouldn't have guns. People who live in the city, hang on, just because you've got a gun, it doesn't mean you're going to walk around the streets of the city, does it? It's absolutely ridiculous, isn't it? I think personally, it's a shambles, a complete shambles regarding this shooting. It's a tragic situation, and they try and make everybody else a scapegoat for this, and they're trying to adjust the law to justify their mistakes. Their mistakes that they've made. Devon and Cornwall police have been proven to be inadequate at the job they do. So they're saying they don't want to give out any more licenses because they've been told that they're not suitable for the job. They should get people in who are suitable for the job, shouldn't they? When an officer comes around to inspect your gun cabinet and says you've got a rifle in your gun cabinet, when you haven't got a rifle in your gun cabinet, doesn't that send out alarm signals that the guy doesn't know what he's looking at? Just because you've got a bolt action gun in your cabinet does not mean it's a rifle, does it? A bolt action gun. And at the end of the day, if they don't know what they're looking for, but the chief commissioner, as she's called, isn't she? She comes on and she wants to gain static bolt action 410. Exactly, Adam. She wants to gain popularity by siding and saying that we need a major shake-up. We need a major shake-up when the person who looks at the conviction of the kid beating up young kids in the park on video, and they had video evidence of it, and they took it down to just a telling off, and then he didn't even know what was the wording, Sue?
FC against his name.
SC against his name.
FC against his name.
FC.
Didn't know what that meant.
Firearms.
Excuse me, but when you ask,
unbelievable, isn't it? He did not know that he had firearm. He did not know he had shotgun license, and he had guns. He then tells everybody he was keeping his guns at his uncle's when he wasn't keeping his guns at his uncle's. He was then saying that he was using it for clay pigeon shooting. You would be asked to leave a clay pigeon shoot if you turn up with a pump action. But it's how they turn it around, isn't it? It's absolutely disgraceful. The police in Devon and Cornwall need to be prosecuted on that, because if they'd done their job properly, and this will get me in trouble because idiots will watch it and say, Upton's having a go at you. If they'd done their job properly, that pillock wouldn't have had a gun. It's as simple as that. That guy was not in any fit state to have a gun. And the lies and the signals were there. They were flashing and they took no notice.
it came from the family as well.
The family informed them of the fact that he was not of a super mentality to have a gun. They should have looked into that. The referee he had was a teacher, right? He'd gone to the park. He was severely punching young kid in the park, and they gave him a telling off and said, you need to go and see anger management classes. Absolutely disgrace. And what they then do is they then try and turn it around on the decent guy who owns a gun and wants to up the price of his license. They want to make it so he can't afford it. They want to take it out of the realms of anybody who hasn't got a farm or land that they can shoot on, right? And they want to change the law, all because of their poor action and dodgy dealings that they've done and turn blind eyes in certain situations. And it's a lack of understanding with the job they're doing. They have not got the training. It's as simple as that. And I shouldn't have to be the mouthpiece for this, but why should we sit there and let these people dictate to us as if we're all in the tar us all in the same brush as that absolute tragic situation with that plank who went on the streets on a rampage, right? Absolutely disgraceful, unbelievably disgraceful. But for the police to say we've made failings, but we're doing nothing about it. Exactly. Pump action power. Exactly. It's how they manipulate it, isn't it? It's like as soon as the public go pump action, they go instantly. You know that you don't need that for vermin. You don't need that for sport shooting. Hang on, you do use it for vermin, but at the end of the day, it's instant access to let's create a shitstorm for everybody else, isn't it? And what a shame. And I'm not I feel so sorry for all those people who lost loved ones and people who had to go there, ambulance services, police, anybody who had to go there and face that. That must have been horrendous and terrible. And I'm not pushing this lightly to one side, but I think the police, it could have been avoided big times if the police had done their job properly. And this is down to the police, not down to people who own shotguns. This is down to the police and their actions and their lack of actions at the right time. It's as simple as that. So I wanted to actually say that because I feel that it's dead easy to throw us under the bus, the shooting community, when in fact the shooting community is a far safer community than people can imagine. Now, I do understand, things happen at that other situation, didn't they? And things will happen, but I just think that to try and brush it under the carpet and say we're going to tighten it all up, and we have tightened it up, but not admit liability yourselves and deal with it and get it changed, get it sorted in the right way, but to go after innocent people who have been law abiding, I think, and taking it out on them is absolutely disgraceful. It's no different than when that dumb blame thing went off and they cancelled all hand pistols, didn't they? A competition hand pistol shooting. You don't walk around the streets with a hand pistol, but hand pistol shooting lost out because of that one bloke went mental with that gun. And at the end of the day, I think BASC let us down in that situation because they didn't fight strongly. I did see that they have now made a statement saying that they are standing up for the shooting people, the decent shooting people, and saying that the laws do not need changing in that area with the price of a license. They're saying they want to price it to the point that it covers the cost of all the policing, of how much it costs to actually go around and check all these gun people in the appropriate way. It's a sad situation. So that's enough of that one. Has anybody else got to say anything about that? Anybody else got anything to say about that situation? That's what they're trying to do. They want to go down the road of over £500 for a license. Anyway, on that, shall we move on? 13 minutes in and 28 people in here and 3 thumbs up. It's unbelievable, isn't it? Do you know what? If this was, I don't want to keep going on about this, but if this was in America or it was in France and they were trying to dictate to the decent people out there and make them suffer because of their inadequate dealings of policing it, there would be uproar, wouldn't there? People would come out fighting, and I don't mean in a nasty way. I mean they would come out protesting, saying that, hang on, you're the ones to blame for this. Don't push it onto the decent people in the sports world. The genuine guy who wants to go out a weekend and shoot over his dog. Why should we suffer because of idiots like him who should have never been allowed a gun? It's as simple as that. There's no way on this earth that bloke should have been allowed a gun. And they've got blood on their hands. And that's a strong statement, isn't it? But I believe the police have got blood on their hands. And if I was a police officer in that situation, I was involved in that, I would resign on principle that I have not done my job properly. And they said that no one's going to really get into trouble over this because of the way the policing is. But I think it's wrong. I think that if you've not done your job properly, it should be highlighted and you should be forced to resign if you don't resign on your own. Principle of it. How could you sleep knowing that you allowed that to happen? And it's tragic. It's tragic. So anyway, we'll move on to something else, shall we? I see that Adam Hudson has been upsetting a group of beautiful people with terriers. talking about e-collar training, and I think he sent a link out to this group to see if anybody wanted to come on and have a bit of a debate over it. So, is there any terrier people here that are against Adam Hudson using an e-collar on his dog? Now, you've got to be very careful here, everybody, because you might not know the true story. You may. I don't know if we should tell him, Adam, about your disability. I don't know whether we should tell him or whether you've told him about your disability, Adam. Have you, Adam? Have you told him? I mean, they can't do that, can they? They can't be prejudiced. No, you haven't told him. You're just freaking honestly. So the question is this, everybody. If you are struggling because of your age, like Adam does, he's an old man, see. Steve Page says he thinks he's damn right cruel. He is, isn't he? He's egging him on. Not legging him on, egging him on. Right? Because at the end of the day, he's got a decent argument there, isn't he, if he wanted to go down that road, didn't he? I mean, everybody in the group who's in our group knows exactly what the situation is. And I mean, is it my place to say something in case one of these terrier people are watching? I have a problem with my 16-month-old spaniel, Chris. She holds light dummies, tennis balls, etc. But with heavier ones, she drops it halfway back, especially in cover. Any ideas? Honestly, Kate, you're really struggling, aren't you? You're really struggling at the moment, boy. Say it, says Adam. No, Adam, you say it. You say it. Because the thing is, you could have an argument with them for an hour. But if you then told them what the situation was, they wouldn't have a leg to stand on, would they? See here in the background? I've had to live with this, honestly. It gets tiresome after a while.
Yeah, and I had it 5 days before I got it. Thank you.
See what I'm saying?
You gave it.
See what I'm saying?
Me?
Do you see what I'm saying? You allow your wife to become argumentative, and it gets worse and worse. It's throw it back at you. Adam said he can't run after his dog, and I totally understand. And I've just been going out and placing it in her mouth, and then bring it to her. She holds it, and then it's fine. That's what you want to do, Care. That's what you want to do. That's what you've got to do. You've got to build it up, and I think it's important that you do build it up. But if you put a rabbit skin around it, they tend to want to hold on to it more. If you put something smelly onto it, they don't want to tend to drop that. So I tend to put something of high value onto the heavier dummy. And so Adam got a point. So if he's got his terrier and it's not listening to him and he can't run after it, and he's using an e-collar, I think that's a very wise thing to do. So if there is any of these terrier people on there who think that, hang on, that's not the way you should be training a dog, I think as well, in a situation where, say, you're 70 plus, or say you're 60 and you're not very well, and you can't get after a dog, and you can put an e-collar on a dog, you can send a correction to the dog. But what I actually watched, what Adam said, and watched the video, he actually paired it in the right way. He wasn't just sticking it on the dog and frying the dog and turning the dog into an aggressive or nervous dog. He was doing it the way he's been shown in the group, when you need to use the tool and how valuable the tool is. And yet you're going to get your negative people. But I think certain people in the group love winding up certain other groups. I think that they think it's sport, and that's all fair in love and war. But I think if Adam actually had the discussion with them, saying, well, hang on, how am I going to get after the dog in my situation? I think people would be more the fluffy betas. This is it, isn't it? I think some people actually enjoy the crack, as we say, the crack. And I used to enjoy the crack. I used to enjoy the crack when someone would come on here and challenge what we used to say. Poke the woke, new type of entertainment. Here you go, David. It's true, isn't it? Now, there's nothing wrong with that in my eyes, but I don't do it as a professional unless they go after me. Then I have no problem and I thoroughly enjoy it. So I understand it's sport. I understand you have every right. I love controversial posts. I'm prepared to get shot at. The Terrier group is full of serious behaviour issues, aggression, running off. Exactly. Smelly sock. There you go, says Lynn. Look, smelly sock. Use a smelly sock. Dogs will carry a smelly sock. So it's open sport. If that's what you guys want to do, you crack on. There's certain people in the group who absolutely love it. Shooting tweeds in the house. Look, he's put his best gear on. Like I said, see what I'm saying? I'm having to live with this. Can you hear it? Everyone in the background. I'm having to live with it. It's just non-stop. Have you heard me cough yet? No. Rub the dummy in cheese. That's why cheese spread was made for, Kurt. There you go. Honestly, it just gets worse, this does, because you're going to have the Terrier group in here trying out with cheese. They'll have their fingers. They'll nibble their bloody fingers off. So was there anything else? Somebody else wanted to mention something. What else was there? I don't know. Shame, Sue. Hope you feel better, says Denver.
Thank you, Denver. I'm getting no sympathy in this house.
No, there's only one person on here said poor old Sue.
No
The rest of them understand the shit I'm going through. She does get rather excited when the cheese comes out. Do you know what? I'm giving in. I'm trying to be sensible. I've tried to cover a few issues today about important issues and trying to be sensible. Jesus Christ, will someone slap her?
I'll have a bit of
Honestly,
whiskey.
honestly,
Thank you, Gary. First time ever.
honestly, guess what? If Devon and Cornwall police heard that, they'd say anger management classes, wouldn't they? Anger management classes. Shall I slap her? She's only drinking the whiskey, Gary. If Gary's here, she's drinking the freaking whiskey. My whiskey is like a chastity belt. I've had to put a lock on the top of it. It's like a bloody chastity belt. I gave her a little bit yesterday because she was gagging. Not in the bedroom. She was gagging in the chair.
You did say it's medicine. Medicine also. There you go. Share life.
So the thing is, I get a letter through. Oh, we could talk about yourself again, Chris, aren't we? I get a letter through saying that I'm a vulnerable person and I can have antibiotics if I get COVID. Sue doesn't like whiskey by the sound of it. No, Steve, listen. I've been feeding her everything gently, like soup, like everything, and she's going, bleh, bleh. I can't keep it down. Bleh, bleh. Everything I've made, I made a burger and I watched it on the side and I thought, she's not going to eat all that. She ate half of it and coughed on the other half, so I thought, I'm not eating that. Honestly, Steve, everything on a plate, I keep looking across thinking, if she's not going to eat that, I'm going to have that, but there's no way after she's gobbed all over it.
I was thinking of your weight.
See, thinking of my weight now, see?
I think about you, my dear.
See what's happening, everyone? Do you see what she's trying to fat shame me live on freaking YouTube? My own wife fat shaming me live on YouTube. The patience that this man's got to have at the moment is unbelievable. Unbelievable. And she doesn't like whiskey, but she's had a third freaking glass of it.
No, I haven't. It's not very nice, is it?
Henry Haynes Wood have been registered with a few spaniel rescue organisations, home checks, etc., but been let down a few times. What happens with a dog in training that doesn't quite make the grade, Tar? I don't know what you mean, Henry.
But when it's not good for like competition or anything like that.
No, he said he have been registered a few times. Will you shut up a minute?
Yes, dear. Oh.
Honestly, you can't cope with it. It's just non-stop.
Oh, sip it.
Have been registered with a few spaniel rescue organisations, home checked, etc., but been let down a few times. What happens with a dog in training that doesn't quite make the grade? Tar. Well, some people get rid of them, Henry, and some people don't. But if you're looking for what sort of dog are you looking for, Henry? If you ask, you may get a bit of luck. E-collar, cough, cough, tap, tap, e-collar. Adam, great frigging idea. Adam, at the moment, because of all the chit chat answer back, the e-collar could be a blessing in disguise.
I used to like him.
And I think we should do it live on TV with Sue sitting in the chair. And I think she should run the show for the evening. And every time she butts in, or I butt in, I can zap her. And then she'll know what it feels like. Now, majority of the time, I love that woman dearly.
I think Adam needs to slap a cheddar right in his face, personally.
Adam, you've upset her. She's very moody at the moment. Honestly, Adam, you've never seen anything like it. You've never seen anything like it. I thought at one point she was going to die yesterday. She was coughing that much, the poor little mouse. Adam says he's on his way. Can't wait to. Anyway, that won't work on Sue. She can take the full collar blast. Exactly, Steve. Exactly. She can, can't she? That's the problem, isn't it? She'd be like that freaking bring it on, bring it on. Yeah, she won't be like a freaking terrier. Turn it up, just turn it up lightly. No. Honestly, it's been hard work. Honestly, it's been hard work. And she could have another 3-4 days off. She could. Shut up! Honestly, what can I do? What can I do? I thought to myself tonight, do I go live or do I not go live? Will I be able to control my emotions on here? Look at me. I haven't coughed once, have I? Because I keep sipping the whiskey gently and just trying to not get worked up until she starts on me. Honestly, we're not normally like this, are we? But when she's not very well, she can be terrible. I can see a mother in her. You know what they say, don't they? Look at the mother and then you see the daughter. I freaking can at the moment. She give me some grief, honestly, after this. I'll tell you, I'll be on a promise tonight. I don't want her in the room coughing anyway.
Gotta be freaking joking.
See, gotta be freaking joking. See what I mean? That if I had that collar on at that point, I would have pressed that button high. Well, I think we should end this tonight. I mean, you must be sick and tired of listening to the. You know, normally it's a dog in the back barking, isn't it? Today it's Sue barking. Tap tap. Yeah, exactly. Honestly. Oh, I'll be in the kennel, Denver. I'll be in the kennel. I'd gladly be in the freaking kennel with Wiz at the moment. We've got the horse lorry down the freaking garden. I'd gladly be in the horse lorry, but I'm concerned that I'd come back up here and she's choked to death because it's unbelievable. She's like a little hamster. When she coughs, she goes instead of cracking one out and getting the phlegm off your freaking throat. Honestly, she hasn't got any. See, she's got over it. She's got over it. I cannot believe that she went to work. But I got to give her credit. She actually thought she had a cold. She didn't know she had COVID. So this COVID thing is a joke, absolute joke. The test they sent me, they said because I'm vulnerable, she's the one coughing. I'm the vulnerable one. Has anybody got any questions? Has anybody got any questions tonight? Anybody coming in here tonight is going to think, what a shit show this is. You got somebody in the back coughing non-stop, and he's freaking going on one. So I'm just having another glass of whiskey. Sod it. Do you know where you got it from, Chris? No, I don't, Denver. I honestly thought it was a cold. I honestly thought it was a bad cold. And to be honest with you, it's been like a bad cold. It hasn't. It's clogged up your ears. It's clogged up your nose, your throat, coughing. That stopped. Then they moved on.
Yeah, because you weren't like ill with it, were
No. I mean, we unfortunately we did take the train to Exeter, and I think that in the train might have caught it. It might have, but you don't know. But I actually thought it was just a cough. I had a cough, and that's why I say Sue went to work, and then any any word on summer training dates. Like I said, Kit, at the moment, no, I don't. Unfortunately, I've got a number of things to sort out first, but I will try and get the dates up as soon as possible because obviously give people an idea. And I will get the destination where we're going as well. We will get that sorted as well. I did have somebody ring me yesterday regarding the Spaniels, the Corleone Spaniels that a number of members have got. I think Adam's got one. Has Adam got one?
Charlie's got one.
Charlie McAvoy. Is it Charlie McAvoy? He's got one.
Up in Scotland. Charlie's got one.
Charlie's got one in Scotland. And
Adam's got one.
Yeah, Adam. Yeah, you got it from the woman around the corner. Not myself. Out of my lines.
Claire's got one.
Claire's got one. Yeah. She spoke to me yesterday. And she sent me a picture of I think there was 11 in the litter, and I think 9 people turned up at her house with their dogs, and she sent me the picture. So I will pass the picture on and show people in the group. It was quite a big litter she had, wasn't it? Nigel Moore's in the house. Good evening, Nigel. We're not going to talk about the whiskey, Nigel. We're not going to talk about nothing about gout. We're just going to drink it and shut up tonight.
And Henry Hayeswood came back.
Just looking to take on a dog. Intention is to train it with your guidance, not to competition standards, just so it can be reliable when out and be good enough when at home. So, Henry, are you not looking for a gun dog? Actually, you're not going to shoot over it, or did you want to shoot over it? If you contact me privately, I do know of a few people, Henry, that may have something that may suit you, but you have to give me a little bit more input privately. So if you contact me privately on Messenger, the problem is, Henry, it's dealing with it's a lovely gesture, isn't it? I want to give a dog a nice home, a rescue dog, and it's a nice idea. Unfortunately, you don't know the baggage behind all that. You don't know the behaviors behind that. But unfortunately, it's like dealing with the Gestapo. They are a law unto themselves. These rescue, they carry so much baggage.
Michael McLaughlin's got it right, I think.
What did Michael McLaughlin say, Susan?
I would say if you mention discipline, the rescue homes will not entertain you.
Exactly, yeah. But what I'm saying is they act like the Gestapo. They carry so much emotional baggage. The questions that you'll be asked, and how are you going to school the dog, and how are you going to? Have you got anyone going to leave the dog on its own? Well, hang on. Lots of dogs get left on their own. It depends on management, doesn't it? I'd love to come shame you. You're too far. Hey, I'd love to come shame you too far. Oh yeah, you're in. Excuse me, everyone. There you go.
What's that?
What was that? That was a sneeze with my hands over my mouth. Unusual compared to you. Yours normally goes across the room.
Well, it came my way.
Do you see what I mean, everyone? I turned away so you didn't get it. I covered my mouth and went down on the floor.
Excuse me, they're virtual.
Virtual.
I'm in the house.
I'm in the house. Do you know what? She's drunk too much tonight. How's Ninja? Ninja? You'll have to wait and see. The Ninja videos are coming out now. I'm selling a Spaniel for $14.75. You'll need a mop and a sense of humor. Yeah, he loves him really. Yeah. So sorry, Henry. We'll go back to you. We'll get the sensible people in the house, shall we? Like I said, unfortunately, these rehoming groups are like the Gestapo, and they are terrible. I've actually been into 2 of them and offered to take dogs off them that have been in there for 6 months and train them and then move them on for them, and they've refused because of the methods I use. I just can't be bothered with them anymore, unfortunately. Can buy my Springer with noise, says Denver. There you go. Look, Denver's got a little Springer with noise. He's being honest with you. and he'd sell you that one. So if you wanted to contact Denver, there you go. It depends what you want the dog for, Henry. And when he says noise, it doesn't mean it's noisy. It's noisy all the time. It's just that when he casts the dog off, or when he put the dog in a situation of under pressure, sometimes it make a little squeak, or it'll whine while sitting there a little bit. Now, with a pet dog, you wouldn't have a problem with that, but with a working dog, I wouldn't want a working dog with noises. As simple as that. He's trained. Oh, he is trained. There you go. Bless you, Chris. Thank you very much. That was a bit late, Lynn. I thought you were a vicar then. Bless you. I thought it was a bit late. Yeah, it was delayed reaction, that one. That one came through a bit late. So, Lynn, I think that you live on... where did we go and have our honeymoon, Sue?
Isle of Wight, dear.
Isle of Wight. That was it. I knew it was something. Isle of something. I was going to take her to Isle of Skye, but I couldn't I couldn't do a 9-hour trip in the car with her.
It was obviously unforgettable, dear.
No, it wasn't unforgettable, but it was. I know it was on an island somewhere, and I know it was. I think Lynn lives out there. I think, if I'm correct, she lives out on. Or is it Isle of Man? Isle of Wight. Isle of Wight. It maybe was. Were we on the Isle of Wight? Yeah, we were. Isle of Wight.
Yeah.
Yeah, I knew it was something like that. Hey, all beds are the same, aren't they? When you're lying on a freaking 4-poster. Anyway, anybody else got any questions? I'm close to the Isle of Wight. Yeah, it's a bit of a run from our place, especially when I closed the shop, another record shop, and they said, let's get down there and have a honeymoon down there after the wedding. And we raced down there. It was a bit of a trip to get on that bloody ferry. The last ferry we caught, didn't we, Sue? I remember it was so romantic, wasn't it, Sue? I was moaning that day, wasn't I?
Yeah.
All the way. Traffic. Yeah. She never forget that.
Then fell asleep.
Did you see it? Did you hear that, everyone? Did you hear that, everyone? He then fell asleep.
I did wake you up.
Oh, dear me. Oh, honestly, I'm supposed to be a macho man, aren't I? And now she's giving away trade secrets. I fell asleep on my wedding night.
Well, you did have a long drive, dear.
She couldn't leave me alone. We'd only been together for 15 years before that. It's not as if it was like romantic. It's just happening. Anyway.
Oh, wait, so Leanne is on the Isle of Wight, and he just lives outside of Portsmouth.
See, good memory, ain't I? Good memory. Yeah. Yeah. So anyway, any questions? Any questions? Come on. So, has anybody got any questions on here tonight? There's 38 minutes. I've still got another 20 minutes. Oh, it seems a long night tonight, doesn't it? And I'm not supposed to be drinking too much, so don't get me going. Don't get me going, anyone. Don't. Well, anyway, where's all these terrier people then? Where's all these angry terrier people? Not in here. Look at that, so come on over and do a training weekend. Yeah.
She's talking about Steve.
Yeah, no problem. I'm just thinking, what a great idea for someone like Sol and Steve to go to the Channel Islands, because they'd be able to see the dog, wouldn't they? It couldn't get away, could it, too far, could it? My mum and dad have a bed and breakfast. Imagine that, Lynn. Imagine that. Bed and breakfast on there. We could go back for a honeymoon reunion, couldn't we, Sue? We could do it the romantic way, couldn't we? How many years have we been together?
Too many.
See what I'm saying, everyone? See what I'm saying? I'm trying to be sensible here. I'm trying to get some knowledge from her, and she goes, too many years.
Like 36, something like that.
36.
This year.
Renew your vows, Steve. Why would I be doing that? Do you know when we first got married, Steve? I left a spade by the back door, and she said to me, why is that spade by the back door? Why haven't you put it away? And I said nothing. And then 2 days later, she says, "You've still left that spade at the back door, Chris. Why have you left that spade back door?" I says, "Because I've been digging a hole." She said, "What for?" "That's just for you if you carry on." I try to start off on a good note with her to teach her that do not keep nagging me. Never worked. Never frigging worked. Next time I went out there, no spade, and she'd filled the fricking hole in. Fred West, says Peter Piper. Yes. Fred West never messed around, did he? No. Fred West never messed around. So anyway, I was feeling absolutely wonderful. So, like I said, I went with Kate and I went with Sue. It was the first time I was feeling wonderful for a while. And Kate said, "Can we go out for the day?" And we've not been going out because I wasn't feeling too well. Because I felt so well, I thought, right, what we'll do, we'll drive to Oakhampton and catch the train to Exeter, have the day in Exeter and come back. Went to Exeter. Diet went out the window. Had an all-you-can-eat breakfast. You should have seen the stuff I had. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. And then the next day, COVID. Thought it was a cough. COVID. It's knocked me back again. It's not on. I work with Fred, says Graham Allison.
Ooh, creepy.
Did you? Did you? What, building patios?
As a gardener.
As a gardener. Down in the cellar. We went in the cellar on a regular basis. He wanted to build a wine loft. A wine loft? A wine cellar. A wine loft. I'd have kept that to yourself if I was you. I think Graham just wants his frigging garden digging up. I think he wants his garden turned over by the police. How about that poor woman who they found in the reeds? Oh, that was sad, wasn't it? Everyone's a private detective, aren't they? Everyone said we know what's happened, where she went, who took her, and then they found her in the reeds. Literally, they searched it 50 times with police dogs and everything. Obviously, the police dogs haven't got much of a nose, have they? Obviously.
Water again.
Water again, Sue says. I don't know what she means. She's now going to explain to us what she means. Water again. Come on.
In the water.
She was in the reeds.
The reeds are in the water.
She's laying in the reeds. The people who went through with their dog saw her laying in the reeds. She wasn't under the water. Honestly. She could have popped up. There you go. So it's amazing, isn't it? How everybody blames everybody else, and yet a dog walker comes across the body.
But thankfully, they found her. The family's got closure.
Another sad situation, but like Sue says, thankfully the family have got closure. Tidal river, says David Jones. No, it wasn't really tidal. Not in the reed bed. Not in the reed bed, David. They've actually said that. They said that it wasn't tidal enough for that body to be dragged out. That's what that so-called professional diver said. But they said the police had checked that area. Everybody would check that area. They were told didn't need to check that area. I mean, they said the body hadn't moved from where it was further down and being dragged out to sea, whatever. At the end of it, I didn't really get that involved in it, but I couldn't believe how many people were giving their opinions of what happened and what could have happened, or blaming who or blaming everybody. But I just thought to myself, not being funny, if you're going to fall in the water, and we don't know if she fell in or was put in, at the end of the day, you wouldn't fall into the middle, you'd fall at the edge, wouldn't you? You'd surely check the edges first. The professional driver that didn't find her, exactly. But they had the police divers there first, and he said that they told him what they'd searched, and he was searching other places, and it just gets confusing, doesn't it? It just gets so confusing. There's some horrible things happening, don't there? You know, imagine poor woman walking a dog, but we don't know, do you? You don't know what happened. She could have had an aneurysm and fallen in the water, and there's no suspicious circumstances. But it took the police 4 days to issue whether it was her or not her. They said, we found a body, but we can't confirm it's her. Surely you could have confirmed it quicker than dental records. They said they had to go on dental records.
She could. Well, yeah. She could have come in, fell in with a dog and gone in, couldn't she? You don't know. So that's one aspect that we probably will never know why.
I'm surprised some dog expert has not come on and said it's the dog's fault. Any more messages? Anybody else got any subject you'd like me to talk about tonight? Is there anything we've missed out? I mean, this has become a political program, isn't it? I'm like David Vine, aren't I? Hey, it's like a political program on a Wednesday now, isn't it? Does anybody else want to talk about anything else with dog training? Anything? Anybody seen anything that's suspicious? Anybody want my opinion about anything? Come on, you might as well throw it at me. You might as well throw it at me tonight. I see there's a few of the film star dog trainers out there now saying that we should all be getting on as dog trainers, and we shouldn't be rubbishing each other just because we train different ways. We shouldn't be discrediting each other. I think that if a vet thinks that chopping the nuts off a dog is going to sort behaviour out, I think the vet is cruel. Simple as that. I think the vet is taking money for old rope. I think that any dog trainer that tells you suppress the behaviour and the testosterone by chopping the nuts of the dog hasn't got a clue how to train. It's as simple as that. I think we have a right to highlight people who are turning people over. I think that any trainer that will not use discipline but will recommend taking your dog to the vet if you're having behavior issues hasn't got a clue. Misinformation, loads about it. Exactly. It's like it in every aspect, isn't it? Like I said to you, you can read the documentation, the government.org, about the COVID and how long you've got to isolate, and it says that you can isolate for 4 days, 5 days, and some people need to isolate for 7 days because they can still carry it and pass it on. How do you know which group that you belong to? So should we all stay at home for 7 days? That would be more sensible, wouldn't it? But you think about it. Could you please give me a yes if you've heard Sue coughing in the background? This is going to be interesting. If you've heard Sue coughing in the background, could you just give me a yes? Right. Okay. So when I've been coughing, it's been really loud. You could hear it right across the whole. If I was in town or I was in a shop, you could hear it big time. Oh, yes. Only quietly. Yeah, she does everything quietly, except nag me. Right. So what I'm saying is, you go into Tesco's or you go out shopping now and you hear someone doing that, are you going to think COVID or they've got a cough? I know what I'm going to friggin' think. Every time I hear that friggin' noise now, that's going to be like a whining friggin' dog in the background. It's going to remind me of, whoops, stay away from them. They've got COVID. Because that cough is irritating. You can hear it and you think, before I would have thought, they've got a cough. They've got a cough. I think COVID and stay away. Great for getting rid of a queue, says Karen. Yeah, good one, Karen. Yeah, great one, isn't it? Especially if you've got no mask on. But they're saying, aren't they? Once you've had the COVID and you don't want to pass it on because you don't know whether you're still is it a giver or a taker? Can you say that? You don't know whether you're still passing it or you've passed that stage. You can wear a mask. So everybody you see in the supermarket with a mask on, you go, COVID bastard, right? So then you're paranoid because if you put a mask on and go in, they're going to go, COVID. You can't win, can you? You can't win.
Take a bell with you. Just ring a bell.
Any suggestions how to keep him calm? Who?
Leanne, a few up. My 14-month-old pup. Just a few up from there.
My 14-month-old pup
calm.
Calm before each test on working test that I have on Sunday.
Any suggestions on how to keep him calm?
Not really, Lynn. Not really. Because at the end of the day, if you think about it, 14 months is quite young, really. And you've got to know yourself whether your dog is that sort of character. If your dog has never shown any traits of not getting wound up, then I would say not a problem. But if you've got a 14-month-old dog that can be a little bit verbal when you're training with another dog and making the dog sit there, perhaps you're putting that dog in that situation too soon. But I totally understand how important it is that you want to get there and actually run the dog in a bit of competition and see what the dog can do. I've never really run dogs at a very young age in competition. I've always given them time to mature. Tracy says COVID. What does she mean?
You were saying if you hear that cough in the supermarket,
Yeah.
you ought to be thinking.
Yeah, everywhere I go now, it's going to be like the plague, unclean. I'll be frigging legging it from anyone coughing. Because generally, without being funny, how the hell did we know that we had COVID? Because I had a cold. I went 5 days without even knowing I had COVID until we tested. And the only reason we tested is Sue was dying and she just never ill. And she was literally, I was worried about her at one point. I was thinking I'm going to have to find a younger model at one point. Poor Sue. Yeah, poor Sue. It's worrying when you're her provider, you're her protector, and you can't do nothing for them. That's terrible, isn't it? That's like you feel useless because you see her in the corner, coughing herself inside out. And talk about bloody drama queen. She used to say to me, "Oh, you're so bad. You've got a cold. You haven't got the flu. Oh, remember that day when you did have the flu? Now you know what the flu feels like." Honestly, at one point, I thought I'd lost her. At one point, I thought, there's no point in phoning a doctor. There's no point in getting an ambulance. They're not going to get here. They're all on freaking strike anyway. And so what do? I say, is there anything I can do?
The dishes would have been nice.
See what she said? Dishes would have been nice. Dishes. We went 4 days without doing the dishes. That's not my fault, is it? Everyone, you've got to stick up for me here, don't you? 4 days, and she said, I had to do the dishes because we didn't have any more knives and forks. Plates. See? Hey, practical Sue, innit? All the freaking time. Not a problem. Haven't got any plates? Eat out of the saucepans. We've got bowls. I could have moved on to bowls. I even looked at the dishes at one point, thought, shall I try them? No, I'm not doing the dishes. You think that's bad? We did 4 days without eating when Ellie was born. Use paper plates. Well done, Leanne. Well done. We nearly died. Yeah. This is the problem, isn't it? The problem is as well, Karen. If you think about it, she's not been eating, but she can't. She's got to eat because she's like a freaking rake anyway. So don't eat for 3 days, and all of a sudden it looks like she's from freaking Afghanistan. She's Africa. Bob Geldof rang up fucking asking if we needed any money, right? Because at one point, freaking pants were falling off her. Couldn't keep her pants up. It was disgusting. It was disgusting. The weight was just dropping off her. Now she doesn't eat a great amount until I plough the food onto her in the evenings, and then she tends to eat it. I look like a golf club when Ailey was ill. Yeah, this is it. I mean, you guys have got no weight on you. Me, I can sit back and go. She goes, I don't know how you can eat when you're ill. Well, you got to freaking eat. What is the golden rule, everyone? What is the golden rule? You starve a fever and feed a cold, don't you? Starve a fever, feed a cold.
Well, then you had a cold and I had a fever.
You see what I mean? We had COVID. Like now she had a cold and one had a fever. No, I didn't have a fever. I had COVID, but she didn't want to freaking test. So he goes out and buys a test, pays for it, and then you're supposed to inform the government that you've got COVID on this form that I've got because I'm at high risk because of my illness thing. And I contact them and say, what's the barcode number? I give them the number, says can't take that. So when you can't take that, it's come up positive on COVID. Oh no, that's one you've bought. We have to send you one. So they had to then send me one through the post. Then I had to do that, then put the barcode. Then the alarm bells ring. Then they go, hang on, do you need any serious medication because of your problem with your stroke? They then turn around and say, oh, that's no good because you've had COVID for 7 days and not realised. So there's no point in putting you on steroids or something. I don't know what I'm going to put you on. Why would I want to go on steroids for a cold? I didn't think I had COVID. I thought it was a bad cold. That's the problem with this COVID. How many people are going around thinking, I just got a bad cold, I got to carry on, life goes on. Hey? And then it's all spreading. We've had it, haven't we? We've had it. But you listen to that cough. You remember that cough. If you take if hear it, you hear anybody in the supermarket or anywhere walk. Fucking hell, she made me jump then. Run, Forrest, run, she says. You just listen to that bark that she's giving there. You hear anybody in Civvy Street doing that, you keep away from them bastards. They're unclean. Feed a cold, says Graham. Thank you, Graham. Thank you, Graham. And there's nothing worse, is there, than being a stick insect and not eating for 3 days. What?
Yeah, but that's fine if your throat doesn't feel like you're swallowing razor blades, does it?
Oh yeah,
Annie,
here we go.
you were lucky.
What a freaking drama queen! What a drama queen! Imagine she had the bloody flu. Go on, what did you say?
What?
A question here or something?
Leanne, I put him in at 9 months and got 73 out of 100. He came third out of 8 dogs.
See what I'm saying, Leanne? I've already mentioned that, haven't I? Her memory has gone as well. She can't remember a freaking thing. I mentioned that and I said, well done to you, didn't I?
Oh, right, okay. Just let you know.
Just she's not on the ball tonight. I'm sorry, everyone, tonight. That it's been a bit of a shit show. It's not my fault. It's the staff in the background.
Staff?
The staff. Yeah. Has anybody actually heard me cough tonight? Could you just yes or no? Have I been coughing? I know I had a sneeze. I had one sneeze. That could have been her, though, couldn't it? That could have been her in the background. No, thank you, Denver. There you go. So I've controlled myself because I tell you, I've been coughing like my lungs are coming up, haven't they, Sue? Yeah. Mine's been heavy on the chest. Mine's been pretty sure the staff is the boss last time. I'm new, sister. Karen, you can't say things like that. It's like putting them on a pedestal, Karen. If you put them on a pedestal, you're going to have to knock them off the pedestal at some point.
Taste buds been affected. Yours hasn't, has it?
No, my taste buds not been affected. Nor my sexual drive, funny enough, everyone.
Blimey, it was nearly an hour. Almost an hour. You happy now?
But I've been a gentleman. I've been a gentleman. I've been a gentleman, haven't I? I've not put you under pressure.
No.
See? Do you see how considerate I am? I definitely need a 10 out of 10 for that one, don't I? I bet you all were waiting for that information, weren't you? But I cut down on the coconut water because I mean it would just build up and build up and build up, wouldn't it?
Be like Niagara Falls.
Be like Niagara Falls. I just been drinking plain water and trying not to think about it. Honestly, it's very, very frustrating, isn't it? I don't know if you guys know. You guys who get it regular, I mean, it's very, very frustrating if you don't get it regular, isn't it? When you've got to be a martyr and go, oh, she's slightly too ill, isn't it, to gag her? She's slightly too. She's gonna be a drama queen in the bedroom if I start jumping all over her. Honestly, I had to give her a time out. And I think that's why she's got a little bit stroppy tonight, everyone, to be honest with you. I think I've just not kept her in her place. This is the problem, isn't it, when you think about it? Hey, lads, what do you agree? Do you agree, you guys? I mean, come on, girls, do you agree? Do you agree with what I'm saying? I should have kept her in a place and just carried on being the normal Chris instead of being considerate. How dare I be considerate? Honestly, I'm trying to build myself up to be a martyr here and no one's interested. 29 people in the house, 8 thumbs up. 59 minutes and 48 seconds. So she's dying in the background. See what I mean? I bet you're worried for her, aren't you? I mean, not being funny. I bet you think, you put your hands up, Chris, so we can see you're not strangling her. It's not me, look. It's not me. I have not touched her. I'd like to. I'd like to at the moment. But do you know what? It just, when two people are ill, and get well soon, says Kieran. So look at this. Honestly, I don't want any sympathy for Sue. It should be for me at the moment, everyone. I'm the martyr. Kieran, how dare you? How dare you? Bollocks, off to bed, Sue. There you go. That's what I said, Michael. That's what I said. And close the door on the way out. Close the door on the way out. She got me freaking going now. On that note, good night, everyone. And Chris Upton, in sickness and health, as Graham says. I'm sorry that it's not been one of them nights tonight. Good night. Hope you're all well and stay safe. And like I say, if you go in the supermarket and you hear someone like that in the background, bugger off. Bugger off as quick as you can. Good night, all. Chris and Sue signing off. Hopefully catch you next week when we're feeling better.